Hey guys, Mr. T here for another video. So we are starting to wrap up our state or our starter Pokemon ranking videos. We are going to finish up with water. So we went in order of the series. Anyone who knows Pokemon, it goes grass, fire, water in every starter situation, or at least in the mainline games. So we're gonna dive in to our water starters. So if you haven't seen my other videos, the grass ones explain what we're doing. Quick recap. I'm ranking the stage 3 water starters based on that Pokemon alone. So I am not taking the family line or any of their other stages into consideration. I'm only ranking the stage 3 of the water starters. That's it. So let's dive in. Now, to prove to you guys I'm only taking this Pokemon specifically and not their whole family line, is my first or my least favorite water starter, stage 3 water starter, is a huge downgrade than what you're going to see their stage 1 at in my next video. So my least favorite water stage 3 would have to be Quaxquaval or Quackquaval. I always butcher his name. I still don't even know how to properly say it. But this Pokemon, I mean, Quaxly was beautiful. Oh my god, I love Quaxly. Like, peak Pokemon right there, especially because it looks like Donald Duck. And then this is what it evolves into. This thing is garbage. I mean, that's probably one of the worst downgrades we've ever had in a Pokemon family line. I mean, there's others that are arguably worse, but this one was almost disgusting. Like, I loved Paldea. I really loved Scarlet and Violet. I just did a replay of Scarlet. I'm actually in the middle of a replay of Scarlet. So I think Paldea and Gen 9 gets a lot more hate than it deserves. But this Pokemon right here deserves all the hate. I just cannot stand it. At least Mouscarada and Skeledirge. Mouscarada's pretty good. He's okay. Skeledirge is peak Pokemon. This thing is disgusting. Arguably one of my least favorite starters, stage 3 starters overall, water, fire, or grass. So yeah, I could keep going on about him, but I won't. So my number 8. Now, I've mentioned this before. I have tried not to take regional forms into account. I'm basing it off the original or the main Pokemon, not them or their megas. So that's why this one's low. I actually do like this one's regional form. And by this point, you know who it is because we've only gotten one regional form of any water starters. The other regional form is coming with Legend ZA. So it's Samurott. You know, I don't hate Samurott. Quaxquaval or whatever his name is, he's the only one on this list I truly hate. I don't hate Samurott. I've never been a huge Unova fan. I'm starting to really get back into it recently, especially with the new Black Bolt and White Flare sets that have come out. And I've really started to appreciate Unova, the region. The games, Black and White, I'm still not a fan of, but the region I am appreciating it, and the Pokemon. I'm just not a fan of Samurott. Now, Hisuian Samurott is really cool. I like the typing. I like the way he looks. I like a lot of the cards that he has, the Pokemon cards. But regular Samurott, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me almost. And I'm not a fan of his whole line, really. But again, even Samurott specifically, I don't know, just didn't do it for me, you know? I mean, he looks cool, and you would think it'd be more, like, higher on my list, but, again, I'm just not a big fan of him. So, now, my number 7 is Empoleon. The thing about Empoleon is, again, I don't hate any of these other ones, other than Quaxquaval or whatever his name is, so I don't hate Empoleon. Empoleon just had 2 other massive starters to compete against. Infernape and Torterra. Like, I know I put Infernape and Torterra a little low on my other lists compared to their other fire and grass starters, but compared to starters overall, Torterra and Infernape are so much better than Empoleon. I mean, leaps and bounds better overall. I feel like their designs are better. I feel like the love that they got on the shows are better and everything. So it's not that Empoleon is bad. Empoleon just had to compete with like major heavy hitters with its competition in its line, you know. So it's like the Sinnoh region already has Torterra and Infernape, Empoleon just kind of got knocked off to the side. And honestly, for my number 6, what we're about to see, it kind of was the same thing for him. So my number 6 is Inteleon. Again, I don't hate Inteleon. He's kind of cool. I like his little water gun thing that he does in the game. He's not a bad Pokemon. But again, having to compete with Cinderace and Rillaboom, he just kind of got pushed off to the side, you know? And to me personally, I'm not a huge water guy. I like water. It's one of my more, it's like mid to high on my list of favorite types. If you didn't see my type videos, you should go watch those. So I don't hate water, but I think Rillaboom was awesome, and Cinderace is one of my most favorite Pokemon. Top 20, top 25 easily. So Inteleon isn't bad. He just had a lot of competition going up against him, and that's why he kind of got low. Now for my number 5, I believe this is the highest of my Alola ones that my Alola starters made it, and that's, with the opposite way, and that's Primarina. I really like Primarina. I don't mind Popplio. I think Primarina was a cool Pokemon when it came out. I kind of like the general design. It looks weird, but kind of weird in a good way. The only reason Primarina isn't higher is because my top 4 are just amazing. So the other 4 that I haven't put on here yet are just better. That's why Primarina gets a lower spot. So Primarina's great. The other 4 are just better. That's why. So, but no hate for Primarina. Oh, went the wrong way. I don't know what's going on in my water video. All right. Now for my top 4, my number 4 is Feraligatr. I like Feraligatr. I like Totodile too. You know, Feraligatr was a great Pokemon, and again, I have never been shy about this, and I have never held back on this. I did not like Typhlosion. I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was overhyped. So I always liked Feraligatr, and then obviously Meganium was my favorite Johto, and I've said that before. But I've always liked Feraligatr. I mean, just look at him. He's a cool kick-butt alligator. I mean, his design is solid. It's clean. He's got the cool red fins all the way down his back, or in spots on his back. And he's a beast in battle, too. So he's just great all around. I think, you know, a lot of Pokemon get judged on how they look compared to the previous generation. And, you know, Johto got judged harder than anyone else because they came off the foottails of the original 3. And I think Feraligatr was a really good second water starter after Blastoise. I think they did a great job with him on that. Now, my top 3. Now, number 3 and number 2, I could put either way. It's one of those where I could flip them back and forth. But I finally decided to put Swampert as my number 3. Again, love Swampert. Swampert easily could have been my number 2. But I just, again, it goes back to the whole Swampert. The Hoenn starters are the greatest starter line of all time, okay? Like, as a whole, okay? I still like, you know, Blastoise and Charizard and them better, but as a whole, Swampert, Blaziken, and Sceptile are the greatest trio of all time. They beat Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur as a whole. Individually, Blastoise and Charizard are better. But Swampert is just great, and Swampert is amazing. But, again, just like some of the other ones on this list, Swampert had to compete with Blaziken and Sceptile. Blaziken is my favorite Johto Pokemon, or my favorite Hoenn Pokemon, sorry. Blaziken's arguably my 3rd favorite Pokemon of all time. And Sceptile was always my go-to grass Pokemon. The only reason I didn't put Blaziken on my all-star team was because I already had a fire Pokemon, Charizard. So I put Sceptile instead. So my whole life growing up, Sceptile and Blaziken were always either my favorites. They're both on my top 10 all-time favorite list. So that's why Swampert kind of got knocked down a little bit. But again, he's still 3rd place overall. That's still pretty high. Now, my number 2 is Greninja. I love this Pokemon. I can't stand him in Smash Bros., but I love him everywhere else. This Pokemon is amazing. I love the ninja aspect. I love his moves. And Ash's Greninja played a big part into why Greninja is my 2nd favorite water starter. But man, Greninja is solid. Plus, again, you know, he didn't really have a whole lot of competition in Kalos, because the Kalos starters, the other 2, weren't the greatest overall. So, yeah. But Greninja is just such an amazing Pokemon. He is so peak. And then, of course, my number one shouldn't come as a surprise because he's one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time. That's Blastoise. And anyone who's seen any of my videos or knows anything about me or has talked with me before, you know Blastoise was actually supposed to be my first Pokemon, Squirtle at least. When I first got Pokemon, it was in 1998, I believe it was, 98. It was the year that it first came out in the United States. And I got blue version. So my thing was, I want Blastoise. I want the giant, big turtle. Didn't cut out there. I purposely omitted that word because I don't want YouTube to kick me off. But I wanted the giant turtle with cannons on his back. That was the Pokemon I wanted. Me being the impatient kid, I went AAA, picked Charmander instead, and, well, now Charizard for life. But Blastoise is still easily one of my favorite Pokemons. I mean, look at this guy. He is literally a tank. And it's actually interesting because Blastoise is one of the few Pokemon I prefer his normal mode or his normal version over his Mega. I actually don't really like Blastoise's Mega compared to Blastoise himself. I know that's like sacrilege for some people. Most Mega Pokemon, I'd say like 80-90%, I'm just throwing that number out there. But the majority of Mega evolutions, I love better than the originals. Blastoise isn't one of them. And I've been thinking about making a video about that where I say, like, you know, do I like it better or worse or whatever? But Blastoise is just solid. He is always going to have a huge spot in my heart and a huge spot on my list. So, all right, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, there's our water stage 3. Stick around. We're going to start post stage 1 waters here pretty soon. And yeah, stay beautiful, Americans. Peace.